Okay, this training is called Perfecting Your Pitch. Let's start off by talking about the difference between a sales pitch and an elevator pitch. Most business professionals don't know that there's a difference, and there's a huge difference between the two of them. I'll explain, or I'll give you an example here in just a minute that will explain that difference very clearly. But the purpose of a sales pitch is intended to educate people on the value of your product or service with the intent to close a sale. The purpose of an elevator pitch is to build the foundation of trust so that people can feel comfortable doing that business with you and hearing your sales pitch. So let me give you an example here. When was the last time that you got a direct message from LinkedIn, you got a Facebook message, you got an email or a text or something from somebody that you did not know? And they said, "Hi, John, I think I can save you 30% on your health insurance. Would you like to schedule a time to meet with me?" Versus what happens if a friend of yours or a neighbor or your sibling reaches out and says, "Hey, John, I think I can save you 30% on your health insurance. Would you like to schedule a time to chat?" So think about the difference there. The first one was somebody that you didn't know. It comes across as cringy, spammy, unsolicited, unwanted, just very annoying. The second one was from somebody that you already trusted. And so you're probably much more willing and ready to listen to their elevator or listen to their sales pitch because you already had that foundation of trust. So the number one thing that we tell everybody when you're creating your pitch on your pitch card, don't go out and share your sales pitch with everybody. That comes later. You have to build a foundation of trust with the person that you're trying to deliver your sales pitch to first, so that they can get to know, like, and trust you first. Your elevator pitch always has to come first before your sales pitch. When you're sharing your elevator pitch, it's really important that you are essentially sharing your story and your why. So we're going to talk about the model of a good elevator pitch and kind of the steps that you want to follow there. But the intent of an elevator pitch is to become knowable, likable, and trustworthy. And we do that as human beings through verbal, nonverbal, and metaverbal communication. So it's not just the things that you say, but it's how you say them with the intonation in your voice. It's also the body language and everything else that you use, the way that you use your hands, the way that your head moves, your eyes move. Like, we as human beings are really good at picking up on nonverbal and metaverbal cues. And so it's really important when you're trying to introduce yourself to somebody that they're able to see, hear, and listen to you in not in a way more than just words. The third thing that we want to talk about here is the know, like, and trust test. You'll be able to know whether or not your elevator pitch is resonating with the person that you're talking to by a couple of things that they'll do. Some of the signs that your elevator pitch is effective is if they're asking follow-up questions. They're saying, "Why do you do that?" Or "How do you do that?" Or why did you decide to do that?" type of thing. You'll see them nod. So when you're sharing your elevator pitch, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, okay, I get it." If you see them kind of shrug or look away, or you can tell that they're not really paying attention, your elevator pitch needs some work. The other way that you'll know that your elevator pitch needs some work is if at the end of your elevator pitch, they don't have any follow up questions and it's like, "Okay, great to meet you." That's the last thing you want to hear when you're sharing your elevator pitch with somebody is, "Oh, great to meet you, Brian. Great to meet you, Susan." You want them to either ask follow up questions, share an experience that they had that resonates with your elevator pitch, something like that, so that you know that you're on the same page. Your elevator pitch is intended to create an emotional connection with your target audience. So you can do that through a lot of different ways, be it by becoming relatable with those people, by sharing a bit of your experience, your background, your education, your wisdom, your a trial or challenge that you've gone through, something like that. But the more people are able to get to know us as human beings, the more likely they are to trust us with that specific service that we're wanting to sell. When sharing your elevator pitch, we recommend the HERA model. And this stands for humanize, empathize, resolve, and to act. So essentially, the first thing that we're trying to do as human beings whenever we meet somebody new is humanize and figure out if we're on the same team or not. So when I introduce myself, oftentimes I'll say that my name is Jeff and I grew up in a small town in Southeast Idaho. Well, oftentimes when people hear that, they automatically start to kind of connect the dots. They think, "Oh, I've got a cousin that lived in Idaho, or I've been to Idaho and it was beautiful there." And so there's a lot of rednecks there. There's a lot of farms, which is very accurate. And so they'll immediately start to associate their experience with Idaho with who I am as a human being. If I share a little bit more and say, "Yeah, I grew up working on farms and moving irrigation pipe and bucking hay," then they'll start to think, "Okay, so Jeff worked on farm fields. He's probably humble. He's probably a hard worker. He's probably this, this, and this." And so they'll start to like make connections as much as they possibly can, because they're trying to figure out whether or not we can relate with each other, whether I'm a trustworthy person that's going to do the job that I say that I'm going to do. You can humanize yourself really quickly. It doesn't take very long. Oftentimes, we recommend just the first 5 or 10 seconds. Share some things that are unique about you, or something that's different and interesting, or that people can kind of connect with and figure out if they're on the same team. The next step is empathize with people's frustrations and their biggest pain points. We always encourage people to focus on people's shark bites, not their mosquito bites. So whether you're a realtor, whether you're a plumber, a doctor, a salesperson, whatever you're trying to do, focus on people's biggest frustrations with your space, your service, your product, whatever it is, their biggest annoyances with that industry. And then when you resolve those pain points, talk about specifically what you do to solve those shark bites for those people. Well, I'll give you an analogy in a second here about that. The last step of your hero model elevator pitch is to give a very specific call to action. Like, I'd love to jump on the phone and have a 15-minute chat, or I'd love to jump on a Zoom call. I'd love to text, or if you want to get in touch with me, text me. Anytime you can be more specific, it's better, because it takes out the mental barriers. Because if you just say, get in touch with me, oftentimes people think, well, how should I get in touch with you? What method should I use? Do you respond to text messages? Is that too informal? Should I email you? Do you ever see your emails? Like, it just adds layers of barriers there. So we recommend being very specific with the call to action that you give. When scripting and coming up with your elevator pitch, once again, focus on the shark bites, not the mosquito bites. Let me give you an example of this. Let's say you're out at the beach and a shark comes up and takes a big bite out of your leg, and your friends and family rush you to the hospital. When you get to the hospital, the first thing the doctor says is, welcome to our hospital. My name is Dr. Smith. I'm super happy that you're here. I noticed you've been out in the sun all day. You're probably pretty thirsty. So over here, we've got a great selection of drinks that you can purchase. And then also, I noticed your skin is a little bit dry. Would you like to try this new lotion that would help soften that skin and make it more moist? You're probably going to punch that doctor in the face and run away, right? And go to the next doctor. But what happens if that doctor comes up to you and says, hi, I am so sorry to see that you've been bitten by a shark. I've dealt with a lot of shark bite victims. I know exactly what to do here. I'm going to give you a shot of anesthesia or morphine or whatever it is to help take that pain away very first. And then I'm going to clean out your wound, get rid of all the bacterial infections so that you don't risk losing your leg. And then the last step is I'm going to sew it up and make it look like new so that you'll be back on your feet in no time. So with your permission, I'd like to get started now. Think about the interaction that you've had with both of those doctors. The first one focused on your minor inconveniences, the fact that you might have been thirsty because you've been out in the sun all day, the fact that your skin might have been dry. You don't care about that right now. What you care about is that shark bite that you're bleeding out from, right? So whenever you're talking to your target audience, focus on their biggest pain points, their biggest frustrations, because they're minor nuisances and annoyances. They don't really care about those things compared to the shark bite. Once you've dealt with the shark bite, that's when you can deal with their mosquito bites as well. Okay, we at Pitch 59, we have an AI elevator pitch creator that will help you script your pitch. However, AI is amazing, but it doesn't add in some of the elements that that you'll probably want to use within your elevator pitch. So the first recommendation that we have, if you're going to use AI to help you script your elevator pitch, is be as descriptive as you can with your inputs. The more input you put in there, the more likely it's going to generate the right elevator pitch for you with the most human touch that you can possibly get. After it's created your elevator pitch, remove any unnatural language. A lot of people skip this step, and it's really damaging, because when people can read AI and tell that it's AI pretty quickly right now. In the future, it'll continue to get better and better. But right now, it is pretty obvious if it's AI, just because it's a little too perfect, or there are just words that you wouldn't naturally say. So make sure that you go through that elevator pitch, remove any unnatural words that you wouldn't say. Also, just tweak words and phrases to make it sound like it comes from you. You want to make sure that you talk about the pain points and the resolutions. So you want to be very accurate and very specific with both of those things. Don't be general in nature with the different types of problems you solve. Be very specific about the major targeted pain points that you solve. And then with your elevator pitch, if it's a written elevator pitch, add in like the way that you would naturally say it. So if you would say it with indentations, different paragraphs, whatever type of spacing you want to add in there, add in the emojis, that kind of stuff, and then make sure that it's written in a way that is very readable and comes across as warm and human, that is actually you, because it's your words at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if somebody else has written it or you've written it. It needs to make sure that it reflects you properly. When you have created your pitch card, we recommend really, really highly that you don't delay in getting your elevator pitch done. So it doesn't take very long. It just takes a little bit of effort right up at the beginning. So the first step is script your pitch, which our AI elevator pitch creator will help you script that if you need help with that. Tweak it, edit it, make it your own. Make sure that that 59-second elevator pitch, which is typically about 150 to 200 words, somewhere in there, make sure that those words represent you well and represent what you're trying to communicate to your target audience well. The next step is put some time on your calendar to record your pitch. I know a lot of women want to make sure that their hair is pretty, that their makeup is done well, that they've got the right outfit and everything, and that's fantastic. But what we're going to encourage you to do is schedule some time on your calendar to do that. So if you know that you have a hair appointment on Thursday, schedule your elevator pitch for Thursday afternoon or Friday morning or something like that so that you're ready to go. So schedule about 30 minutes to an hour to record your pitch. Some people will only need 5 minutes to record their pitch. Others might need the full hour. So just schedule enough time to make sure that you're able to get your full elevator pitch recorded and onto your pitch card. We also recommend that you when you create your pitch card, script it and record it right then as soon as possible. So if you can get it scripted and record it right there, even if it's just a 5 or 10-second intro saying, "Hi, my name is Joe. Stay tuned. I've got my full elevator pitch coming soon." Something like that, just so that people can know that your elevator pitch is coming and that you're not pushing it off. If you decide not to record it right then, make sure that you book enough time on your calendar to record that within the first week or so. You can always upgrade your pitch whenever you want. You can change your elevator pitch every single day if you'd like. So don't worry about getting a perfect pitch on there right now. Just get a good enough pitch that feels comfortable, that feels natural, and that you feel proud of. Get that one on there first, and then you can improve it and upgrade it later if you'd like. The last thing is just stay accountable. Make sure that you're accountable for your own elevator pitch. Once you create your pitch card, and I'll share this from my personal experience, it is so nice to know that I can share my pitch card at any time with anybody in the world through any method. And wherever I send it, it's a good representation of me and my company and what our value proposition is. It's so nice to be able to just send that out because it's like a miniature version of me going out and preparing the stage or setting the table for whatever conversations I'm going to have with other people in the future, and for them to get a little taste into my world and who I am. So stay accountable. Make sure that you get your elevator pitch done. Try and get your pitch done within the first day. If you can't, by no later the first week. The question is, how often should I update my pitch? Well, the answer is as often as you need to. Anytime you feel like your pitch is out of date, it doesn't hit the right message that you're trying to communicate to your target client base, whatever your reason is, if you don't feel like you look good, or if it was a bad hair day or whatever it is, if you just don't feel proud of the elevator pitch that you've got on your video, redo it. Do a new one. I want to just caution you, avoid the desire to try and make it perfect, because you're never going to be 100% satisfied. There's always going to be one or two things that you would change about your pitch, and that's totally cool. The problem is when you have a pitch on there that doesn't reflect you well, that you're not proud of, that doesn't make you look good, you're not going to want to share your pitch card at all. So how often should you update your pitch? Anytime you don't like your pitch, if it just doesn't represent you very well. Once you get a pitch on there that represents you well and communicates that value proposition that you're trying to communicate with your target audience, you can keep it on there as long as you want. So, action items. If you don't already have a pitch card, go to pitch59.com, get your pitch card very first. That's the very first step that you take, is get your pitch card. Second step is script your elevator pitch. Our pitch card process will walk you through that. And then record your elevator pitch. Our pitch card process will also walk you through recording your elevator pitch right there. So just make sure that you got your script created and record your pitch. Don't delay on those things. Set time aside on your calendar to make sure that you get it done. And then try to have your entire pitch card fully ready, fully beautiful, and everything within the first day, or at least no later than the first week.